Chahal. And I'm Nadiah Latif. Hi, and welcome to Where's the Manual? Your parenting playbook. Dad, ayah, apa, abba, papa.
So many
ways.
different words.
So many different words to describe that one individual in your life that very often becomes your first superhero, your first example of what a man would be. Absolutely. And an equal and contributing partner towards a household in an ideal situation, but also a person who plays a very important role in a child's personal and I guess also professional development. I've got this quote, Nadia, that I really wanted to read out because I felt that it really touched my heart. Dads are most ordinary men are turned by love into heroes, adventurers, storytellers, and singers of songs.
That's true, though.
And fun fact, in a recent study that was held at the end of 2019 with 40 countries participating, it was told that 85% of the dads that responded in this survey, Jessy, all said they wanted to play a more active role in their child's upbringing, especially in the early years, but unfortunately are taking less of that role than the mothers. That's right. So the conversation today is basically about fathers, fatherhood, and really what are some of the challenges that they are facing. How many times do we put dads, in the hot seat and ask them what has been difficult for them? Very easily we stereotype fathers and men, but
that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking to two amazing dads. So who do we have today?
That's right. We've got Sivasangaran Kumaran, rare disease advocate, as well as smart parenting coach Zaid Mohamad, joining us on today's episode of Father of Mine. Welcome, Zaid.
Hi, dads. Hi, dads.
Hey.
Hi guys.
Nice to see you guys. Yep.
I wanted to ask one question to get the ball rolling today. If, as a father, if you could have one superpower or be one of a superhero type, what would you be? Which would you choose? Siva?
A new superhero who can sleep countless hours.
Oh, yes. That takes us back to our first episode.
Yes. Sleep-deprived moms are very appreciative of sleep-deprived dads. That's right.
And Zaid, what about you?
Reading people's mind.
Why sleep and why reading people's mind?
Okay. Why sleep?
Why sleep? Well, having two children back home and the one with the youngest who's up and active in the middle of the night and where we have to go run our errands in the daytime, that's something that I really look forward every day. Minimum 6 hours, but then I'm getting lesser than that. So my panda eyes are proving that. So.
This also reminds me of a quote, and it says, I don't want to sleep like my baby, I want to sleep like my husband. So fathers have this bad rapport of being the one that sleeps through. Has that been the same case for the both of you? Right?
Almost. I wish.
I had that problem as well. Yeah. Now my kids are much older. I'm enjoying my sleep. Yeah.
See, we don't have the same superpower wish, but then we have a same goatee. That's the good thing.
So Zaid, you were saying mind reading. Why mind reading? Understanding that you've got children who are slightly older than Siva's.
Yeah. The reason I put that is because yes, exactly. I have two girls and two boys. Sometimes they are teenagers. So sometimes I just don't know what's going on, and sometimes I say something which I think is very innocent enough, and I cause problem. Sometimes when they say something I don't understand, I misunderstand.
You're right. That whole communication piece is very important because very often we hear dad saying, "What did I do?" Exactly. What did I say? Yeah, and we're like, "Dad, no, that was you used the wrong tone, or that's not the way." And so in all this confusion, dads also need some untangling as well as for us to better understand what really goes through a father's emotions and father's head and heart, I guess. So let me pose this question to the both of you. What does being a dad mean to you? Let's go back perhaps to the time when you were a first-time dad. What was it like then? And were you overwhelmed, or did you feel any of those initial jitters that I think mothers go through when they have their baby very initially? Siva?
Okay, so we were first. My son Harish, he was born 2007. So first, it was exciting, right? When we had a boy, and there was a first kid in the house, and I still remember the days and nights where we were up and the usual parenting stuff, right? But then there were time when we were traveling, and then I told my wife, "I'm just can't wait to see my son start to talk, so that he can ask me question while we travel. Hey, Dad, what is that? What is that?" And trust me, when he start talking, I was thinking the other way around. Boy,
You were hoping like, oh, please, maybe, because we were talking
for a
about this
while.
last week. Yeah, with early readers and early, children who are just trying to say and learn how to speak, and there's asking you constantly, "Where are we there yet? Are we there yet?" So yes,
Yeah.
we seem to have lost Zaid, but it's okay. When he comes back, we will add him in again.
That's right. He is on his way in. Again, we can see him flickering there. But Siva, yes, perhaps you could walk us through a bit of your journey as a dad to date.
Oh, Zaid is back. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
The line just dropped. Sorry about that.
No problem.
sure. So was it for
So
me or
Zaid, we were
Zaid
just
now? Yeah.
Yeah, I
actually
didn't
for
hear the
any of
question
you who
actually.
would like to say
Yeah. Mhm.
yes, Zaid. We were just saying that what does it mean being a dad, and if you could go back to the time when you were first time dad, what were some of the emotions and the
Mm,
feelings that you were experiencing?
okay. Well, a lot of emotion. I think the whole range of happy. Of course, it started with being happy, all the way to regretful. So everything in
Regretful.
between.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have I done? Where am
Yes.
I?
I was whether was it the right decision or was it too early or whatever. So yeah, I think I'm looking back. I think it was quite normal, especially for the first one because there's like I think what this show is all about. There's no manual,
There's no
what do you do?
manual.
There's no manual,
And you
and
know what?
then
Here's a secret. There never will
mm,
be.
yes, there's no SOP. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wish we
Absolutely.
yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, I think the whole anxiety thingy that is, I think to me is the worst. Not sure what to do. Are you making the right decision? Is this the best thing that you can do at the moment? But as you gain a little bit more experience, you become more confident, and I think that's what I went through. And second, third child later, you're still improving, you're still learning, but you are at a different level, I suppose. Yeah.
I wanted to ask the both of you, what are your thoughts? Very often they say mothers are the ones that have to be nurturing, and fathers always have to be the ones that keeping it together. They might not show as much emotion, but they're the ones when the mother has sort of nagged you enough, they'll say, "Sayang, can you just deal with the kids?" And automatically he'll just hear, just maybe that one word, and
And
there's like
always be
shush.
the bad cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? And do you think that's a stereotype on how fathers behave with their children?
Mm.
That's a very typical stereotype, which luckily it's not happening at my home. All right. Uh, Me and my son Harish, we are like close buddies. All right. He's 11 years old, and I can let a secret out that we are sleeping on the same bed. He hugs me every night,
Oh.
right? And he kisses me before he goes to school. He kisses me all the time. So uh, it is not a stereotype. And as close as he is to the mom, he's closer to me, I feel. All right. And there is no such thing where my wife just takes care that part of taking care of the child. No, it's a share. It's a shared responsibility between the both husband and wife as a parents. So there's no such thing at stereotype that I mentioned earlier,
But
at least
I
back in
just
my
wanted
home.
to
Yeah.
add, Siva, that's because you genuinely
Yes.
take an active role. You make that effort and you make it your priority to spend time with your
Yes.
child. But there are many men out there, or many dads who are not quite in that same sort of zone, really, if you want to call it. Zaid, why do you think that happens with fathers from
Mm.
your experience dealing with parents?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very valid what you said. A lot of men choose to be actively involved, like Siva, but unfortunately, I would consider that as minority. I think a majority would still be tied up to the society's expectations. And some even, especially the more traditional ones, don't want to be seen as being too involved. But whatever it is, I think um, it's very hard to say which one is right, which one is wrong. It really depends on the situations. In some cases, if both husbands and wife are okay with the arrangement, then if it works for them, I would say go for it. If it resulted in a positive development of a child, and in some cases, yes, you need one over the other. Meaning, it's like in any organizations. Not everyone must play, even though you have so-called flat organizations, there must be a leader that need to make a decision. It could be the mother or father, but typically in
Zaid,
Malaysian,
are you also suggesting that families
Mm,
must be structured like an organization? Do you think
mm.
if it's done in such a manner, it would be more efficient?
To an extent, I think yes. You need to have some sort of authority or clear. Well, I mean, I believe in authoritative parenting, not authoritarian. There's a difference. Authoritarian means you totally use your
It's my way or the
power.
highway.
Yeah, my whatever. I'm the father. You shut up. That kind of thing. No, I'm not. I'm not for that. But what I'm saying, authoritative means yes, you become like Siva and then get very close. But I have my own authority that when I need to use it, I will use it. So
Siva,
yeah, I believe in that. Mhm.
Siva, fathers too have a bond with their children. A
Yes.
lot of times we just very much assume that it's a mother-child relationship that's
Correct.
closer. Dads also have a sense of sixth sense when they want to protect their child or interact with their child. How would you suggest, or rather, what would you say to fathers out there who want to build a closer bond to their children, like what you have with Harish?
Okay, let me share with you guys some history, right? See, my dad, he was a lorry driver when we were all growing up. He hardly spent time with us, and now I'm working in an office, so I have more flexible time and to spend time with the kids. But then when I look back, when I wonder why my dad wasn't around to spend time with us, then I realized that it is actually because he was out there. I mean, looking for income to manage the family.
Trying to
That's
provide for
where
the family.
exactly. So, and things are different now, right? So when I look back, and then there's a lesson learned from my dad that I need to balance it out. So I did. So going back to your question just now, Jesse, again, there's no manual, there is no divide and conquer, but then I believe there is need to be an understanding between the husband and wife to be the good cop and a bad cop, depending on a situation. Is not always that you need to have played the good cop and a bad cop, but then depending on a situation. I'll give an example. When it comes to Harish's study, all right, my wife plays the good cop, I play the bad cop. All right. So there used to be a time when I it was given a flexibility and a freedom for Harish to focus on his study, but he was more a playful child. And then my wife told me that I need help. So I stepped in and then I said, okay, I'll play the bad cop and I'll be more strict when it comes to the studies. And we are seeing the different now where he's more focused. So it depends on the situation. Not every time we have to be the good cop, bad cop. And again, there's no manual.
There's two things that I'm hearing out of this. One is the very clear focus on the best interest of the child. And Zaid, you hit the nail right in the head by talking about there is no one method of parenting that is best, or there's no one way of fathering that is best, because it's not so much about you. It's also about the child that you are raising. And in fact, for me, I've got 4 kids. Every child requires a slightly different treatment. So it's not possible really to have 100% standardized uniformity in your relationship, because they are dynamic and growing individuals. Zaid, specifically, I want to ask you, in your experience, very often you work with parents, of course, parents who aspire to be the best versions of themselves. We find that the way we parent is either in reflection of what we learned and what we liked about how our parents raised us, or if we had perhaps an absent parent. And I'm generalizing this because I don't think it's got to do with fathers alone. So we then try to fill in that gap, that parent we wanted that we didn't quite get when we were a child. And this then becomes our parenting method. Either we try and fill that void of being the parent we wish we had, or we emulate, we try and be the parent we had. So, in your experience, what are your thoughts on some of this, and what is the impact, in your view, to the child?
I totally agree. I think being humans, we don't want our children to suffer the same consequences or the same suffering that we did, and that's when modern parents tend to compensate.
Compensate
Parenting
is a
with
big word.
materialism, yes. For example, if you don't spend time with them, they try to compensate it with giving money or toys.
Or
Uh,
buying
and
gifts. Yeah.
then, yeah, yeah. And then, or worse, some people say, I don't want you to go through what I went through. I think that's good and bad behind the statement. Um, I believe in the principle, because when you have a principle, that is easy to make decisions. For me, the principle is every child must go through hardships,
Mm.
and that hardships is the one that built their character. So even though now I'm better off versus my parents, I still want my children to go through hardship. Sometimes I even created artificial struggle for them. Let them struggle, because I believe that struggle is good.
An
So
artificial struggle. I like that.
Yeah.
yes,
So
Right.
you set up a situation or a problem.
yes. We you don't get it easy. Even if I can afford to. For example, we don't have maid at home, so they have to do their own chores. And actually, I use the money that I'm supposed to pay the maid, so I pay my children when they do
It's character
dishes, when they
building,
do
right?
housework.
Asha said the same thing.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
yeah,
Last week's
yeah.
episode.
So,
So both our
oh, okay.
fathers here on our
Yeah, I
panel
think
today.
that's the principle.
Absolutely. To both of you, what do you think can be done more to support dads? Dads who work, even stay-at-home dads nowadays. What can be done more, or what kind of conversations needs to be there more, so that dads like you feel that heard and supported as well?
Mm.
Siva?
Siva?
Okay, I thought going to be going to Zaid first. Okay, um, mainly with a lot of dads out there. You see, the thing that I avoid is advising another dad on how to be, because everyone have their own circumstances, their background, and the family matters to take care. But then what we can do is we can show as an example of how we are, and then we leave it to the people out there to take the good part of it and then emulate as best for them. So I have no specific advice. I apologize, but then I would say the best is do your best for the child. All right, in
Mm.
interest of their future, give your best. That's the best I can say.
Yep, I think I
And
can
what about you,
echo
Siva?
that. Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. Maybe I one thing that I can share is what Theodore Roosevelt mentioned
Dear
many
Roosevelt.
years ago. Yeah, Theodore Roosevelt mentioned many years ago. He said, and it really struck me as a really important statement. He said, every father must remember that his child will not listen to what he says, but will
Ah,
always do what he did. Oh, to me that
yes,
was like a hammer. Like, oh my god,
yes.
because we tend to give advices, and it turns out that those will be forgotten very fast. But our actions, what we do, right or wrong, that's the one that will become a model for them. So I think I suppose I really live with that. So I'm very careful when I'm around my children, the way I say things, the way I drive even, because I know my kids are watching, and not only watching, they will do it, and they will do it even worse than me.
Yes.
So
If daddy can, why can't I?
Exactly.
Right?
exactly,
I think
yeah.
it's
So
amazing how
that's the
you've
thing.
both encapsulated the fact that words can only go so far. As parents, it is how we live our daily life. So there's never really a moment where we take off our parenting hat. For mothers, I think even when they're in the washroom, probably a kid that's going to knock on the door and try and come in. And even when they don't, I falsely hear them. The
Yes.
phantom crying, I hear it. And I rush out only to find them playing in the
And they're
corner.
fine, right? Yeah. Yeah.
That
But
that's here.
I think
That too.
yeah, so it's like this
Yeah, we
superhero power, right? You suddenly have sense around hearing. But
exactly.
definitely, I think there's been a lot said about parents of today. Of course, the younger generation have got a different
Mm,
style of parenting than perhaps our fathers when we were growing up. But what's nice to see is that there's a higher focus on making memories. Just to share, because today
mm,
is International Youth Day, and we've got a lot of young parents out there. Zaid, when you said am I too young to be a father? Is this the right time? I think that hit the nail in the head, because in Malaysia we are seeing fathers getting younger and younger, and the way they raise their children are very different from how we would think are the methods that we would employ, because they're more in tune with making memories. I want to be the hip dad. But despite all that, it always boils down to the best interest of the child. What does the child need? Sometimes you need a bit of hard knock. You need that artificial challenge and hardship. I love that. I'm going to write that down. But you also need your dad or that father figure, someone who plays that fatherly role, as a person you can go to,
your anchor,
to share
right?
and get advice and watch him work and watch him talk and learn from him in that very non-verbal way as well, and especially watch him and how he treats his partner or your mom,
Yes.
or his mother. I think all that really encapsulates the entire
That's a brilliant
fatherhood
point.
experience as
That
well.
deserves
If I
a
may
whole
add,
session
ladies, if I may
itself.
add, actually we go by the age of the child as well. You see that
Yes.
till a certain age they will be on their own, and then after a certain age they will be started to listen, observe, and then they will start to act. So for example, with Harish, till he was 5, I was very flexible with him. He gets whatever he wants, and then was very playful. But then as he go to school, he have been more disciplined in terms of how he's supposed to behave, follow the rukun negara, and make sure that at home and outside of the public with the elders, how to behave and talk. Choice of words are very important, and now we are seeing the difference. So there are ages that we need to be
Stages
strict,
and
and
stages
ages.
of development. And
Yeah.
Zaid also champions this in his smart parenting programs.
Mm. Yeah, I do. I think what I propose mostly the basis of smart parenting is really the love. And then the way we
Yes.
give love to our children are very different. Mothers give differently, fathers give differently. But the language of love is understood by children. Someone told me very interesting analogy. She said, if a family is an organization, as a company, father would be CEO, mothers would be like management. There's a different way to approach. For example, when you get praised by a CEO, the feeling is different. Or when you get scolded by the CEO, the feeling is different as compared to the managers which you deal on daily basis. So the scolding may not be as much, the praise maybe not as much. So I don't know whether that's true or not. I sometimes I
Well,
observe.
the quote that I've heard is that the father is the head of the family and the mother is the neck. So,
Yeah, something like that.
well, on
Yeah,
that note, we'd like to thank you both very much for sparing your time and, of course, coming on this session today to share your views as well. Happy parenting, and we hope to speak to you again soon. Take care.
Take
Thank you.
care.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
Bye.
you.
you.
Bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye.
Bye.
So Jesse, as we were talking to two amazing dads, it's nice to see that while they have children who are of a different range, I think Siva's youngest is a toddler slash preschooler, and of course Zaid has teenagers. That ages and stages of development also changes the way you behave as a dad, because we were talking about dads of teenage girls and teenage boys and how automatically they have to swap from being the ones that love you and hug you and carry you to suddenly,
Right.
am I going to be your friend or am I going to be the disciplinarian? And it really boils down to how your child behaves and the treatment your child needs to grow and develop.
Absolutely. And also to go back to the points I think that you also made, and of course, both the fathers on our session today said that, do the best for your child. And again, at the phase or stage that they are. What I wanted to say of something that I felt this conversation was really centered around was that don't let fear take over you
Yes.
as a father. You don't have to be a certain way or be the kind of father your father was, whether that was a good or bad experience, generally, obviously, more towards a bad experience. Take the good, yes, but also use your friends, your peers as examples. There are wonderfully many great dads out there,
Yes.
and we want to give a big shout out to all of you and to say that this space of conversation that we're trying to create includes you as well,
Yes.
because you are an equal partner in shaping your child. So don't let that fear get to you. Maybe if you're thinking, well, what else can I do? It's really quite simple from the way we look at it. Spend extra time with them. sit
Make
with
memories.
them in conversation. Yeah. And even if you have your own dreams and ambitions, share them with them. It's so amazing to just hear your children echo some of your own personal ambitions, and
Correct.
you see mini versions of you really
Yes.
doing the same thing as well.
Either to delight or to horror, whichever
Yes,
the case may
that
be.
is also there.
But as a parting word from Jessy and I, we hope that you spend time making memories, give love, but just as important, be willing to receive love. As dad and as parents, sometimes we're so focused on giving the best we can, we don't allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to realize, hang on, sometimes we deserve a pat on the back too.
Absolutely. Dads out
We're doing
there,
all
you
right.
are amazing, and we're here for you, rooting for you and cheering you on. Of course, come visit our Where's the Manual space anytime. We'd love to hear from more dads
Yes,
out
definitely.
there. Share your experience, your views, and your thoughts.
So till next
See you
week.
soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
La, la, la.